Hello, welcome back to Metalhead Nation Garage. I'm Chris, your host. Hey, give us a like, thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get to the day's rock news. Hey, John Waite, he's releasing a documentary video that features the babies and the bad English. Looks pretty good. It's out there today on Amazon. You can buy or rent. Check it out, John Waite making a documentary. Seems like everybody's kind of doing that too. And remember, Ronnie James Dio documentary on Showtime. So it's that's a good one to see. I seen that the other day. Very good, very entertaining, and it really digs deep into Dio's career. Onward with the journey, we talked about that. They did get a new manager. Everything seems like it's on going smooth. Everybody seems happy. So maybe, only good things to come out of Journey right now. We talk about Kansas. Haven't talked about them in a long time. They are releasing a box set of 50 years of Kansas. So it's out now. So a big Kansas fan, which they're really good, this will be for you. Steppenwolf, another good 70s band. They're releasing a three CD box set available in January. Going to be called the Epic Years from 74 to 76. So all good there. And Journey, get back to that. They are releasing a single, Only the Young. It's a video from the Lollapalooza concert they performed earlier this year. Rick Emmett of Triumph is releasing an album. It's going to be on CD and vinyl. It's a Christmas LP. So be on the lookout for that. That was my first concert I went to, was Triumph. And oh man, they're really good. Really good. I hope they do some sort of tour here. They're all living in good health. Boy, I'd like to see a small tour of them. Again, Rick Emmett releasing a Christmas LP. So check it out if you can. On other news now is The Who. They have announced a set of European tour dates for next year, 2023's first tour in Europe in years. So, and, they're just coming off a successful USA tour. I mean, was really popular, very well attended, and why not? So let's talk about the Who. I get on a big kick, talking about the 60s and 70s bands and legendary, their legacies there. We talked Frampton a couple days ago. Let's talk a little bit of the Who. We'll talk about 60s and 70s and that melting pot bands that was there, and great music. I'm telling you, better music back then than today, I believe. And a lot more bands and that had hits. And we talk about the a little bit of the MTV era, but we had it back in the 60s and 70s, man. We had Wolfman Jack on that midnight special, right? We had Dick Clark, American Bandstand, really good stuff. We had Soul Train, and then we had Hee Haw. So we had all these musical shows way before MTV that was, on a Saturday night, early, late, it was really good and very, the ratings was high. People enjoyed that. We enjoyed it back in them days, to see bands like that. But again, we'll get back on the Who on their tour dates and talk about their songs, talk about their members, really probably had one of the best drummers ever in rock music, and that'd be Keith Moon. The guy was a little wacky, he did his substance, he did his alcohol, whatever it was, he was real destructive. He was the first one to tear up a hotel room. I mean, he really threw parties and everything. He's real destructive. But if you go back and listen to them early albums, the band fed off Keith Moon. The only time you're going to see a drummer take the lead, of that. And just, if you get a chance to go back and see them albums being made, they break down his drum tracks. It's really incredible. But to go back for them old ones, I mean, and the band credits him at, that he led the way on some of these big hits from the 60s and 70s. Won't Get Fooled Again, Pinball Wizard, Baby O'Reilly, Eminence Front. That's an 80s song, My Generation. I mean, Behind Blue Eyes, Who Are You, Love Reign Over Me, I Can't Explain, and it's all good, great hits. Magic Bus, The Real Me. I can see for miles. I mean, these hits go on. There's numerous of them, and and they're not the only one. You go back and look at the bands and everything from the classic 70s, right? You're talking to who's in there: Skinner, the Eagles, Floyd, Aerosmith, Zeppelin, Allman Brothers, which I haven't had a chance to talk until today on this channel, which we're going to dig in more if you guys like it. I mean, Queen, Kiss, ZZ Top. And we talked about live albums, I said, Bob Seger, man, that live bullet, that'd be hard to beat. But Phantom Alive is up there. Kiss had a live album in the mid-70s, which they had 3 previous albums that just was a dud. They released Kiss Alive, that vaulted them up, to the top, And so another live good one, Deep Purple, had a great live album in the 70s, and go Doobie Brothers, Chicago, AC/DC, these guys, ZZ Top, yes, Boston, Genesis, look at all these, get into a little Blondie, that's a little different than that classic rock. Crosby, Stills and Nash, Rush, Ramones, Bad Company. And that's the 70s ones right there, a little bit of them. I mean, these was dynamic bands with the hits. You go back to the 60s to kind of the folk music, Simon Garfunkel, the Byrds, the Mamas and Papas, Crosby, Stills and Nash, the Weavers, the Mamas and Papas, and all these, man, they, spawn bands off to themselves, and their legacies live forever. The Springfields, Buffalo Springfield, it's all good. The Clancy Brothers, And I could name the countries. I mean, I watched that Hee Haw too, but I like the old country, the Hank Williams Sr. stuff, Johnny Cash. But that was all. I mean, you go back to the 60s, 70s melting pot. I didn't even mention the band. Wow, what a tremendous band that was. Janis Joplin, The Dead was in there, right? I mean, and I'm leaving numerous bands out. And I don't know if you can name that in today's market that you start from 2000. That you may be able to name that many bands, but I guarantee you not everybody's going to hear about them like we did back in the 60s and 70s. And that 60s and 70s, that era spawned that 80s metal drive. So, we'll get into the 80s at a later episode, but just wanted to talk a little bit about that with the Who coming back out, with that tour day. I thought, that's a good way to talk about these 60s and 70s bands. And, make some comments on there. Who was your favorite 60s and 70s band? Who inspired you, to listen, to just pick up a guitar, pick up a drumstick, or pick up a bass? Who inspired you to do that? I mean, there was a lot of people back in the 60s and 70s, a lot of good bands that you could be inspired by, and really really, there's no one favorite, and they all stick out, some bigger than others. And I didn't even talk about Black Sabbath back in the 60s, how they made it without any radio play. It's incredible, for one. But hey, that'll do it for this show. Hey, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time on Metalhead Nation Garage.